Welcome to episode 284 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and I've got Jill McKinley back on this show. How you doing, Jill? It's so great to see you. It's been too long. Glad you're here.
It's great to see you too. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good. And I'm so glad you're here. And Ben Roethig's back after this is now his third show today, recording a podcast for the holidays coming up here. So thanks for being here. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing good. I don't know if I'm able to actually remember my name right now, but I'm ready to do this.
All right, great. And I hope Jeff Gamet is also ready. This is his third show today as well. Good to see you, Jeff.
It is my third show of the day. Yeah,
this is my second. So
the great thing about this show, there's many great things about this show, but one of the many great things about this show is that I'm not the kitten herder on this one.
You get to sit back, relax while I crank this stuff out.
I get to stir up trouble, and then you deal with it.
And you're good at that. But anyway, we got a lot of good stories this week. It seems like towards the year end here, we've always had some good things to talk about. 17.3 beta is out. We're going to be hitting that hard, and there's a big story about that we'll share in just a minute. 17.2 was released this week, so we got hit those topics hard, and well, we've got a couple other topics we're going to touch on as well. But let's go and to the news this week, and this one is kind of bugging me since I did buy a new pair of AirPods Pro 2 with the USB-C port. Apple is now finally officially selling its standalone USB-C AirPods Pro 2 case for $99. They began selling this yesterday as we record this on a standalone basis, allowing you customers to be able to who have the Lightning charging case to now upgrade to the USB-C. The standalone charger was priced at $99. It's on the Apple's online store. The Verge actually just noticed it, and now all of a sudden it made it through the press here. So we're quoting back rumors, of course. If you put an order in now, looks like it might be a little delayed. I haven't even looked since yesterday. And let's see what the date is now. December 29th through January 4th. So we talked a lot about this when these came out. Jeff, what do you think?
I'm actually surprised at the price.
Yeah.
Because the way we could get them before it was officially available was through the repair program, and it was $89.
Yeah, it was an act of God to order them too, as I tried and it didn't work.
Yeah. So anyhow, $10 more now, and for $10 more, boy, that order better work.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. How about you, Jill? Do you have AirPods Pro, Jill?
Oh yeah, I have the original AirPods, and then I have the newest AirPod Pros because I love to travel with them in airports, and buying a new case and to know that's an option if it gets to that.
Well, I mean, the it's a nuisance. We've talked about this with having the USB-C versus the Lightning connector. It drives us crazy I've got my Magic Keyboard, my Magic Trackpad. I'll have to use Lightning, and hopefully next year they fix that and replace them next year. But especially the fact that you actually can charge the AirPods on your iPhone if you have an iPhone 15 by using a USB-C cable. So you have that option too. So it's got some benefits. I mean, I would say most people who are not normal like us, who are techie people, probably are not going to buy these if they already have the ones with the Lightning connector. No reason to be crazy and buy it, but that's where we're going to go. What do you think, Ben?
I think this could be a good deal depending on whether having this case will allow AirPods that were bought with the Lightning case to get the additional features of the USB-C version.
Yeah. So it's I'm glad Apple did it. I mean, they obviously were hearing a lot after they just did this. So I'm kind of glad they did it. Next story here. This is more of a rumor story. I thought this would be kind of fun to talk about here. This is an iMore. Apple's foldable iPhone is one step closer as Samsung Digital Display begins its internal reshuffle. Samsung Display is making an organizational change in preparation for the launch of Apple's folding progress, rumored to be including a foldable iPhone, iPad, and MacBook. This was from a new report from Korea's The Elec. Revealed that Samsung Display had carried out an organizational reorganization based on focusing capabilities on responding to Apple's foldable products. Apple's foray into the world of foldables is some way off. That's what I was thinking. Still, many rival companies have successfully launched foldable phones. I don't know if I would question successfully. And tablets.
Well, if they mean they actually got them on shelves, sure.
Yeah, so you get the drift here. Go ahead, Jeff. What do you think on this?
Come on. Apple's foldable phone is one step. No. I really don't think Apple's working on a foldable phone. If Apple is working on a foldable display device, it will be an iPad, an iPad mini that folds open into a larger iPad. Makes a lot more sense to me. The whole foldable phone thing, I still firmly believe is a problem desperately trying to find a solution.
Yeah, I agree with that. What do you think about that, Jill?
Well, I have purses, and the purses are this big, and suddenly, because of my new Max phone, no more purses. So I would love to see a foldable phone. I was having foldable phone envy at the airport and thought, I finally could bring back the purse, and it would be nice. And I know a lot of my friends struggle with that too. So I'm curious. I want to see it.
Yeah. How about you, Ben?
Having spent a little time with the foldable phones that friends of mine have owned, they very, very briefly got me thinking about maybe switching to Android.
What?
Up until my brain kicked back on, but
oxygen deprivation does that.
Yeah, but I mean, Samsung is a huge conglomerate where Samsung Display is completely autonomous from the Samsung phone division, or Samsung Mobile in this case. Honestly, this would be a huge get for Samsung Display to be able to produce these for Apple.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. But like I said, it's rumor, and rumors generally you can't trust. So I just thought it'd be fun just to have a brief chat about that. Speaking of not fun, really, GM is nixing the CarPlay to make drivers safer. Earlier this year, of course, we know GM announced plans to phase out Apple's CarPlay and Android Auto in its future electric vehicles, and with the company instead relying on its infotainment system co-developed with Google. This has not been a particularly popular decision with iPhone users, and today, GM actually provided some more insights. I've linked show notes in Back Rumors as well as Motor Trend, which I would probably trust more on them. And they said, according to Tim Babbitt, GM's head of product for infotainment, GM has driver safety in mind, and CarPlay and Android Auto can have issues like bad connections, slow response times, compatibility issues, connectivity problems, leading drivers to be distracted from the road with smartphone troubleshooting. Babbitt claims that the drivers will be less likely to pick up their phones with a built-in system that does not rely on a service like CarPlay, leading to improved safety on the road. GM does not have any data to prove that this infotainment system is less distracting than CarPlay, nor has it done any testing. So how can they even say this in public and with a straight face and say that this is a good thing because of driver safety? I'm hitting right to you, Jeff. I want your thoughts.
How much time do we have? Oh my God. Okay. So what did they do? Put the question into ChatGPT and let it hallucinate an answer for them. And then they're like, hey, yeah, let's go with that. All right. If you're concerned about the connectivity issues to CarPlay or Google Car, Android Auto, whatever. You don't look to the software platform. You look to the crappy Bluetooth chips you're putting into your car.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is a total blowing smoke up your ass thing that they're doing here. I'm sorry. I just gave you an edit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That word's okay.
Okay. Still, this is a non-reason. They're just trying to put a spin on what they really want to do, which is cut out these other services that their customers actually want in hopes that they can convince them to pay for what will presumably be a lower quality feature.
Yeah. Well, high quality according to them.
Yeah, well, they also said, we're doing it for customer safety. Yeah.
What do you think, Jill?
Well, I think if they wanted to care about car safety, they wouldn't have all my doors fall off like it did the last time I owned a GM car.
Oh, boy,
but
booyah.
Booyah. But it is. Everyone thinks cars are the next cell phones. It's the next way to sell services. They took the lessons of everyone selling services and they want to sell their services. And that's the end of it. And I'm not buying a car that doesn't have Apple Play. My next car will definitely have it.
Or am I? Oh, and last thoughts, Ben.
They're doing their reasoning comes from the same reason they did this in the first place. They think their buyers are a lot dumber than they are.
Yeah. This is true.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, don't buy a GM car, please.
Nope.
If you really want to value what CarPlay does, I mean, I'll give a good example. I just driving home my car today, iOS 17.2. The text messaging is so much more robust now. I mean, it's got the nice little display on CarPlay now. You can either tap CarPlay or tell it to reply. It's not distracting. I mean, there's so many things. I mean, I'm local radio station app, and you're seeing even radio stations taking the time with their single app in Chicago, WGN. I like to listen to. They took their app, and it's now in CarPlay. It never was before, and someone finally got
that's cool.
A radio station like that to get them off their tails and get the developer to, hey, fix your app so you can use it in CarPlay. That's the whole point of it. And boy, it's beautiful to be able to listen to it on the app because it's not listening to that wonderful AM radio sound since they don't have an FM or a digital version. So there's a good example right there. CarPlay's value. Oh, but the infotainment system is going to have that too, right? I doubt it. I mean, who's going to want to even bother to develop for that? I mean, give me a break. But anyway, like we said, we could go on for this, but let's move on for the next story here. Apple did delay, they did announce the AirPlay in hotel rooms earlier this year during WWDC for iOS 17. And it was updated on the iOS 17 page on Apple's website that the AirPlay feature for hotel rooms for TVs has been delayed until 2024. It was originally they originally said the feature was going to be coming later this year, but I guess it will be coming in an update in 2024. Apple didn't give any specific information or time frame, but the feature should be added in an iOS 17 update in the first half of next year. What this was going to do is the feature is going to allow iPhone users to scan a QR code on their hotel room TV to establish an AirPlay connection, allowing them to wirelessly stream videos, photos, and music from their iPhone to their TV. Google already offered that similar feature in some hotels, allowing guests to do that via Chromecast. Apple did say that they partnered with the Holiday Inn owner IHG Hotels and Resorts. That'd be one of the first hotels brands that would adopt the feature. But I think what's probably my opinion is delaying this is getting all the hotels on board to do this and going with that. What do you think, Jill?
I travel for a living a little bit, and I used to bring fire sticks and I'd rip the TV off the wall, and it was a pain. And so I gave up on that, and I just started watching things on my iPad. I would love to be able to broadcast. Plus, the hotel rooms used to say, "Well, log in with your Netflix account, and you can watch." I'm like, I don't trust you.
I'm gonna put my Netflix on there. Yeah.
Right.
So this would be a great solution to that problem for sure. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, and then I mean, in Vegas, I was at hotels that have specific little screens, those touch screens at your bedside. Most elaborate thing you ever seen, and people, I was even slightly confused with it because it was just so bad the way the interface was. But this is something going to be good. Ben, what do you think?
This is definitely going to be on the implementation side. Whether LG is dragging their feet or is just trying to get the individual hotel franchises on board. Apple. I think Apple thought it might have been a little bit easier trying to get this out in the field than it actually is.
Yeah, no, I agree. Any thoughts on this, Jeff?
I think what's happened is that Apple has had to do what every company has to do, which is prioritize features. Yeah. And there were other features that were higher on the must complete list. And there's also a very serious security element that goes along with this. And I think Apple is doing a lot of testing to make sure that the security element works exactly as it needs to. Mm-hmm. And then throw the hotels in, and they're going to be kind of slow, but I think that's what's going on.
Yeah, no, I agree. For those of you watching live, I want to make sure I recognize people in the chat at youtube.com/intouchwithios. We have Web Bixby. How you doing, buddy? We miss you on Mac Voices, as well as Wither Bucket, which is Jill's brother. He's in the chat as well.
My brother.
He says, "Hey, everybody, Jill's brother here," and he did talk about.
Hi, Jill's brother.
How you doing?
What's up?
And he did talk about his 2013 Prius, just like what you have, Jeff.
Yeah,
as well as Jill, that doesn't have that that ancient infotainment system. So yes,
Jill's brother. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to replace the infotainment system that we have that doesn't actually do very much anymore with CarPlay head.
Yep.
And so I probably just figure it all out at Crutchfield. If they have the best price, I'm going to get it there. And sometimes they have a sale, Ben. But yeah, you got to shop around. Use Crutchfield to make sure that you're getting all the right stuff, and then you shop around for the right prices for those components. And
they don't. They may not always have the best prices, but they have by far the best resources.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Crutchfield's awesome.
Wait, what is this magic device called?
It's a website, Crutchfield.
I know. Yeah. I mean, the device that's going to make Apple Play work.
Oh, so, there's that whole brick that's the infotainment system in the car, right in the dash. Yeah. That, with some effort, that comes out. Mm-hmm. Then you get another block that has CarPlay built into it that goes in there, like Pioneer, or JBL, or Sony, or Kenwood, or whatever. And you can get different screen sizes. You get the right bezel to fit around it, so it looks like it's part of your dash, and away you go. Cool. And with the right adapter harnesses, all of the controls on your steering wheel still work. Your backup camera still works. Nice. So you're set.
Yep.
All right.
So let's move on to the next story here. Disney says the Hulu app will not shut down as Hulu merges into Disney Plus. There've been speculation about this and discussions that Disney did say potentially that they were going to be merging, and Hulu content is now available inside the Disney Plus app. But now Hulu says, don't worry, the Hulu app isn't going away, and you will be able to use that app if you would rather not use the Disney Plus app. This had been a huge concern for many who only subscribe to Hulu. Some feared that it would need to get Disney Plus if they only wanted to access Hulu. Good news is that's not going to be the case. A statement on Disney's website says that will it be as a standalone app? And they said, yes, this is not a replacement for the standalone Hulu or Disney Plus app. Both will still be available as separate offerings, especially the fact that they have Hulu Plus Live TV and premium added-ons that can only be available in the Hulu app, and along with a full Hulu video on demand content library too as well. So this is going to be interesting to see where this goes. I mean, using it on your iPhone or your iPad is ideal when you're watching a lot of this content on Hulu and Disney Plus, for that matter. Ben, what do you think on this?
I think there's a very good reason why they're keeping the dedicated Hulu app. I think they're going to try to sell the live TV, the Hulu live TV service. And it makes that sale a lot easier if it comes with the app and the customer base.
So they could use that app for the Hulu Plus Live TV, then you say, right?
Yes.
Okay. How about you, Joe? What do you think?
I'm interested to see if these other networks more are going to stay with it. I mean, are people going to start pulling back their own content and just keeping it with their own services? Yeah. But I started seeing that Discovery was going to start decimating their offerings, maybe, and selling them off. Paramount was thinking about selling off its offerings. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to what used to be the old networks and whether they stick with Hulu or maybe I'll become Hulu. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's quite a war, and we could have a whole other topic about streaming services. I think we're overdue for another discussion on that soon here. So, yeah, what do you think, Jeff?
I'm actually surprised that they're keeping the standalone Hulu app. I figured they would roll everything in to the Disney app. And even if you're subscribing to just Hulu, you would still have to get the Disney app, which means they now have a single place where you're going to see all the stuff you're missing out on if you're just a Hulu subscriber.
Yes, that is true. So more to come on that, and we'll definitely have some other discussions in future shows about streaming. It's just a wild west out there, and the topic is always interesting here. So, last story this week, Apple stock. Wow, it's just going crazy here. The stock closed at a new record high yesterday as well as today. I just looked on my watch, and it's at $198.11 per share right now. That adds another $1 trillion to the market cap this year. And as a company, Apple's doing all right. The firm, they just closed at an all-time high. Not bad having this as well. Price targets from analysts are saying that it could go up to $250 a share. It's very possible. Like I said, with roughly 240 million iPhones in the window of an upgrade opportunity globally now at play for iPhone 15, and the services is just going crazy. As we know, we've talked about that before. This is great to see. I love the fact that the stock is going up. I'm not complaining because I have a nice chunk on my 401k as part of that stock. So it's doing okay for my retirement. What do you think, Jeff?
I wish I had bought Apple stock back when it was like $12 a share.
Like all of us do.
Man, yeah. But every time I see new record high, over $1 trillion, all of that, I just keep thinking about Michael Dell saying Apple should sell off everything and give the money back to the shareholders.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Jill?
Well, I think that's a great story. I think that they are making some good decisions on monetizing things. And I know I'm more invested in Apple than I ever have been. So they got me for sure. I saw that Microsoft just beat them, but they also have all the investment into, AI and that. Right. And I think that's going to play out in the future. So I'm intrigued to see how this goes with Apple versus Microsoft.
Yeah. How about you, Ben?
This is a prime example of the fact that the old days where Apple is the plucky underdog, are long gone. This is one of the top 5 largest companies in the world.
Sure is. So it's good to see. I'm not complaining. Apple is as strong as it's ever been from 1999, 2000, when they were near death and bankruptcy. You look at them 23 years later here. They're just going like gangbusters here. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to the topics for this week. The first discussion, as we always do every week, is beta. Apple did seed the first betas of iOS 17.3 as well as iPadOS 17.3. And that was just a day after the 17.2 launch, which we'll talk about in a minute here. One of the big things that it introduced, we're going to talk about this at great length after this, is the stolen device protection feature. And so we'll touch upon that in just a minute here. But just also wanted to know they were waiting for a lot of handful of features, including we just talked about the hotel room TVs, and then also collaborative music playlists. But Ben, you were on beta, and I know it's only been a day. Have you had any experience so far?
Yep.
What do you think so far?
So far it's very nice. There's a couple really nice features, especially the stolen device protection. It's the journal app. It also has a few new features. It's getting to the point where, despite thinking of iOS 17 as the new kid on the block, it's starting to get up there in its full feature set.
Yeah, seems like it. Jill, you're also on beta, right? Did you upgrade to?
I got off the merry-go-round right at the release of 17. I decided to hold off for a little bit. So, but I am excited about some of the new features, getting more features. And again, I said it at MacStock. The reason I'm invested so much in Apple is because every release brings something exciting that I'm looking forward to. And it's nice to be excited about your computer equipment and what it's going to do next. Yeah.
I haven't seen anything on the iPad, anything of note. I don't know if you've updated yours yet, Jeff, but
I haven't had a chance to update it yet. Yeah. And I'm assuming it doesn't really matter because I don't think the changes we're seeing in the beta really come into play for the iPad.
That's true. Before we hit to the big story of the stolen device protection, Watch OS 10.3 was released. I don't think there was really much to stand out about it. I don't think you've seen anything, Ben. I assume not.
Nope.
Assume not. And then tvOS 17.3 was also released. There isn't really much to stand out about that as well, but we'll have a little bit to talk about on tvOS, some of the updates to 17.2. But like I said, as I was leading up to this, 17.3 did add the collaborative Apple Music playlists after they removed them in 17.2. They were supposed to release it, so it must not have been ready yet. So I don't know if you've had a chance to look at that yet, Ben, as far as 17.3's music playlist.
I haven't really used them, but my understanding is that there were some security concerns that still had to be ironed out.
Yeah. So
I hope they fix the shortcuts. They utterly broke every music shortcut in 17 something. So
yeah. So, but the big story of this week on 17.3 is the fact that they brought the stolen device protection into the fold here, which is awesome. If you recall, this was a number of months ago on the Wall Street Journal. Joanna Stern did a great story about how easy it was for social engineering, being able to steal somebody's passcode and within minutes be able to reset your Apple ID and get access to your bank accounts and lose all your photos and never see any of your data again. The phone is irrelevant. It's just your memories and data. That's the big thing that you have to do. But this is the stolen device protection. That's what this is going to fix. So it's important to know that there's going to be a number of things that it's going to do. It's outlined in the fact that you're going to be able to when you're viewing you're not going to be able to view anybody's passwords or passkeys saved in iCloud or Keychain. It's going to have a delayed access if it senses that you're in a place that you don't know where your device had been in a different place, whether it be not at your home or at your office or places that it sees. it's going to enforce a security delay, a 1 hour security delay that's going to require that you use Face ID or Touch ID, depending on the iPhone you have, for authentication, and then wait an hour period before the password could actually be changed or updated. These waiting periods will be waived if you're in a trusted location like home or work, like I mentioned here. But that includes the fact that viewing and using passwords or passkeys saved in the iCloud keychain, applying for a new Apple Card, viewing the Apple Card virtual card, turning off lost mode, erasing all contents and settings, taking certain Apple cash and savings actions in the wallet. So a lot of stuff that's going to really be protecting you. The big thing is the ability of changing your Apple ID password with that delay. You won't be able to skirt around this anymore. This is just huge. I'm very pleased to see this because if we recall when this story first came out, Apple's like, okay, you just have to be more careful, be aware of your surroundings. Don't let people look over your shoulder. I'm like, okay, that's an unacceptable answer in my opinion. So I just was disappointed in that. But yeah, you just have to be careful, like we say all the time. Your phishing scams, your all the normal things we've talked about with being security with security awareness. I'm gonna start with you, Jill. What do you think about this new features? I think this is really great.
Yeah, I'm excited about this more than anything I've seen in features because it seems like a tennis game. I'm going to fight this and fight that. We're going to go back and forth and try to patch things as they get broken. But this is a game changer where it will actually level up security in a major scale. So I'm thrilled about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben, what about your thoughts on this?
I think this is the biggest change to security since activation lock came about. Yeah. Obviously, I mean, as Jill alluded to, criminals have adapted to Apple security features. So Apple has to do something to adapt again to change the paradigm.
Yep, for sure.
And they did.
I'll wrap up and let Jeff give us your thoughts on this great feature.
I am all about doing things that enhance security without making it more difficult for users to actually use their iPhones. Yep. And I think this squarely falls into that category. There are a lot of people that, for whatever reason, will need to enter a passcode. Mm-hmm. I'll be in places and my phone will, instead of scanning my face, it's like, I don't know who you are. Put in your passcode. Okay, every now and then you just have to do it. So having a way to help ensure that other people can't spy on your passcode, then grab your phone and run away with it. That's great. And I love the whole geofencing part of this.
Oh, for sure.
So you're not in places that you normally are. Your phone will just know. And which basically means if I'm not here, this is where I spend almost all my time. If I'm not here, I can't change my passcode, which means no one else can change it either.
Right. And that's the key. These are activities that you don't do all the time. How many times do you change your passcode unless you feel that it needs to be changed? It's been a long time since I've changed my passcode. How many times do you change your Apple ID password? I mean, how many times do you go through a lot of these steps that people do to try to get a hold of your personal information and lock you out? This is just a huge thing, and bravo to Apple that they came up with this. And I really think that Wall Street Journal story really influenced this a lot because it took them a little while to finally did it, and they were obviously working on it for a while since they knew the beta versions that were coming.
I have a feeling they were working on this before Joanna's article came out.
Yeah, it had to have been so. But
the level of detail. But yeah, I think they accelerated the plan.
Right.
Like maybe this is going to be something for the next major iOS upgrade.
Yeah.
But after the article, they're like, we've got enough of this going. Let's pull the people off of the AirPlay hotel thing and put them on this project, and let's make this happen now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So something to look forward to. Obviously, most of the audience here, you're not diving into beta right now. Be patient with that because you don't, I mean, like Jill said, she's got off the beta bandwagon for a while. I only put beta on my extra devices. So, but Ben, he likes to live on the edge. So
Do not be me.
yes,
Do not be me.
yes. So, but
This might send me back to beta.
okay, we might have twisted your arm here with this story, so let's go ahead and move on to the version that you should have this week, and that's iOS 17.2. That was released to the public this week. Great to see. There was a lot of updates. We've been talking a lot about the stuff that's been going on with this update, but we're finally here. It's definitely a must update, I think, because there are some security bug fixes in this version as well. I would not hold back, even though it's just like a lot of folks. There's many folks out there like to say, it's a dot one increase. I may want to wait a few days before I do this. No, just do it because it just really has some good security fixes that'll keep you safe. But a lot of the things that really stand out is the fact of the journaling app. A lot of the journal app was a big thing that was discussed, allowing you to be able to reflect on your life's moments, preserve your memories. So that's in the hands of everybody now, and we're definitely going to be seeing a lot more discussions about this. It's pretty fresh here since. Interestingly enough, 17.2 did get released on Monday of this week as we record. They usually would do that on a Tuesday, so they were pretty aggressive getting it to coming off the weekend and then getting out there in everybody's hands so we've had it in our hands for about going on 4 days now. Has anybody? I mean, Jeff, have you explored anything with Journal yet? I know we talked about it in the beta cycle, but now that's in the hands of everybody.
I haven't yet, only because I haven't had time. That's not true. I haven't had time, and since it's limited where it's actually available, it doesn't have as much value for me yet.
Gotcha.
I'm actually really looking forward to seeing what happens with other app and shortcut support for the journal app. I can see where this could be a really useful tool for my business, keeping track of almost like a diary of what I'm working on and project notes, just having things automatically going into it.
Okay. How about you, Jill? Have you tried the journal app yet, or not yet?
I did. Yeah. I tried to journal. I forget about it. I have an auto diary app, which is probably stealing all my data, all my locations and selling it everywhere, but I love it so much. And so I'm hoping this will take over that in its functionality. And it looks like a few more features that really will. So I'm excited to do this. I'm excited for the Mac app as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully they get the Mac app out as a companion. So how about you, Ben? Have you tried journaling? Journal?
Yep. I will preface this by saying this was the part of iOS 17 coming out of WWDC that I had the least interest in. Then I tried it. This could actually get me into journaling the way the iPhone camera app got me into photography.
Okay.
It's the machine learning aspect of it, the way Apple is pretty much giving you a lob for an alley-oop for each journal entry. This is smart. This is very smart. And it's just another quality of life enhancement on Apple's platforms.
Yep, absolutely. So as what journaling does, it does make suggestions to make it easy to remember your experiences, and filters that let you quickly find bookmarked entries. So it's kind of like a notes app, but it's more in the journaling way of things. You do have options to lock your journal with the Touch ID or Face ID, as well as it does do iCloud Sync, so it keeps all your journal entries safe and backed up and encrypted on iCloud. So the other cool feature that they did add was the fact that on the action button on iPhone 15, The translate option is now available on the action button for the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max to quickly get you to translate the phrases. So now you have a quick action. If you're traveling, that might be a good thing to have on that button for the time that you're traveling and you need to have translation for different languages. So that's kind of cool. They did talk about spatial video. They'll let you capture video on the 15 Pro and Pro Max. Of course, that's going to be part of the Vision Pro. We've talked about that, and it does. It's not something you're going to really be able to do unless you have the Vision Pro. But we'll talk about that. Future shows relates to that. They did improve the telephoto camera focusing speed when capturing small, faraway objects on the 15 Pro and Pro Max. So that's another cool thing that they enhanced. In messages, they did the catch-up arrow. It'll let you easily jump to your first unread message in a conversation by tapping the arrow visible on the top right corner. So that was kind of a cool thing they added. The add sticker option in messages is now in the context menu, so it allows you to add a sticker directly to a bubble. And some emoji updates. Contact key verification is provided for automatic alerts for contact verification codes to help you verify people facing extraordinarily digital threats and are messaging only with the people they are intended to. There have been a number of things with the weather app. I won't go into too much of that stuff. It's in there, as well as they've done some improvements with that, with all of this. I'm not going to go through all this stuff, but there's a lot that was there. Qi 2 charging support's now going to be available for both the iPhone 13 and 14 models, which is good to hear for those. Sorry, Ben, that didn't include the 12, but that's good to see that they're actually doing some updates to older devices like that. So, all in all,
the weather updates are amazing.
Okay, well, go ahead.
I just want to say,
go ahead, Joe. Let's go into that. I like to hear what your opinions are on that. Let's go ahead.
Got new widgets, which are great. I love the new widgets. The weather app is on par with I'm a weather nut, and it is on par with every weather app I use. So I am just a huge fan of what they did.
Change.
Yes, it's amazing. So the grids across the month, the amazing radar. I mean, everything got improved. It is on par, like I said, on par with every major weather app out there.
Okay, so those are the most of the things that stood out to you as far as the weather gap goes.
Yeah, just the whole grid. Like I said, just everything was great, and I'm looking forward. I'm hoping more notifications come for like extreme weather or dangerous weather, but I couldn't be happier.
Good.
I canceled a few services this morning.
Well, I think some of us like carrot weather. That'd be hard to cancel that, but
yeah, that was one of them. Gone.
Okay, that says a lot right there.
Does. We gotta relook at this, huh?
Yep. Still, I'd be waiting for the email. Why did you cancel me, meatbag?
Right.
That's right. That's right. So, and there was a number of other security fixes and bug fixes, that kind of fun stuff. Like I said, go ahead and do that. Get that updated. Some of the other versions, Watch OS 10.2 was also released. They're definitely important to get that with the bug fixes. They added some access to log health app data and Siri for the Watch Series 9 and the Watch Ultra 2. Automatically viewing the now playing when in proximity of the HomePod. I haven't tried that one yet. But then that would work with the Apple Watch Series 6 or later, that feature. So, as well as the first gen of the Ultra. It did enable the ability to swipe and change watch faces and settings, enable ability to confirm ending workouts, prioritize the volume of either the music or the trainer's voice in Fitness Plus. And it did resolve an issue with that caused watch faces added in the Watch app on the iPhone to not appear on the Apple Watch. So they did some pretty good enhancements on there too. Anything else you guys have come across with the watch? If you're assuming you've updated, you're on beta, Ben, so I know that. So did you update? I know you updated yours, Jeff. Did anything stand out for you on the watch?
The fact that I don't have to press and hold and then swipe to change watch faces. I'm so glad that's back. It's important that people know that's a feature you have to turn on. It's off by default. So just be prepared for that. If it doesn't work right after you update, and you're like, why not? That's why.
Yep. Anything stand out for you on the watch, Joe?
No, I was glad about that feature too. And I was really happy about the Apple Fitness and the music. I don't like the music and fitness apps in general. And so I was glad to pare it down a little bit. So I'm just thrilled with all of it.
Great. Then tvOS 17.2, that actually, surprisingly enough, there was a number of pretty good enhancements in this version. The update enhanced FaceTime, fitness, and the Apple TV apps, and it streamlined the voice search and supported apps, as well as added new support for Siri, as well as including performance and stability. So again, it's bug fixes. The new sidebar now makes it easier to navigate and find something great to watch. That sidebar is really cool. I mean, I have to get used to it. So that makes things really, really easy to get along with. All your subscribed channels and connected apps can now be found under channels and apps in the sidebar and on the home menu there. iTunes movies and shows are gone. It's now integrated into the Apple TV app, which was way overdue. Those were very, very old and dated. So I'm glad to see that they're really, really putting more integration into the Apple TV app more than anything else. Watch Now is now called Home, so when you can browse the movies and TV shows. FaceTime, quite a bit of enhancements, including the ability to answer calls directly on your Apple TV 4K. Support for FaceTime audio calls on there as well. Calls are now moved from your Apple TV 4K to your iPhone or an iPad. I've noticed that because I've done some FaceTime calls, and all of a sudden, do you want to transfer this to your Apple TV? Well, I'm talking to somebody with FaceTime, so that's really cool. And a number of things. Apple Fitness Plus has some updates. SharePlay's got some good updates as well, and some Siri fixes here. So, as far as iPad goes, there was a pretty good amount of stuff. The weather, of course, you got some updates there, and messages as well. In PDF support, they did enhance autofill identities. Identifies fields in PDFs and other forms, enabling you to populate them with the information such as names, addresses for your contacts. So they really enhanced that. A lot of other things basic with the iPhone as well as the iPad too, that really enhanced a lot of what they released. This was a pretty big update, really, if you think about it. I mean, it really stands out that they did some pretty major updates to everything here when it comes to that. So, I'm so glad to see that. So, a couple of things that stood out too that I found notable here as well is the ability now to changing your default sound in iOS 17.2. We've got that linked here, and the way you're able to do that is if you open up the settings app on your iPhone, go to tap sound and haptics, and select default alerts. You now can change that to the sound that you of your so choosing. So was nice that they added that enhancement in there. As well as we talked about translation and speech. That's great. I think we really talked about a lot of the stuff that was really updated. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to add when it comes to that?
That was pretty thorough.
Yeah.
We went through that pretty quick, but I think we did it some justice here.
I have a secret though, that you may not know. You talked about buying, moving where you buy TV shows and movies. Mm-hmm. The weird thing is when I switched from Windows to Mac, the Windows iTunes has a ton of sales and a ton of box sets.
Oh, yeah.
You do not get on the Apple side of things. And so I have to keep my Windows machine here just in case I want to buy a box set, because you cannot get the discounts and the sales. And I'm not sure why. And I'm not sure if it's eventually going to go away on Windows. I know there was a new release of iTunes today, but if you didn't know that, there's a lot more on the old iTunes.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Interesting.
I told him. I sent him a ticket and said, hey, just so you know.
Yeah.
But,
where is this?
Yeah.
And they did still continue to show love on the older devices. They did iOS 16.7.3 as well as iPad OS. So those are still on that as well as on older devices. I believe iOS 15.8.3 3, I think it is, that's out there too. So if you keep your older devices up to date, it's a super important that we do that. So and keep that that awareness available and make sure that you're doing these updates. So let's hit one more topic here. I'm going to talk about where people buy devices. This is an interesting discussion. The fact there's been a report that most iPhone purchases in the U.S. happen at carriers, not Apple. And this week, this year, they took a look at what was the big thing of where people buy iPhones. So a lot of good data here. 71% of U.S. iPhone sales between September 2022 to 2023 happened to carriers. That was up from 67%. iPads are the most diverse. It says Apple's about 30%, Best Buy and Amazon tying about 19%, and the rest of the carriers, of course, as they're buying with cellular services, about 15%. Apple, of course, does continue to dominate the Mac sales. That was a 39% in the last report to 47%. So it's definitely interesting to see where these numbers go. And I purposely held back this story for you, Ben, because I know you had a bit of a challenge getting a new iPhone. So why don't you share with people your unfortunate experience with that, and maybe this might be the reasoning why we may need to consider potentially carriers versus going to the Apple Store. You obviously have a challenge because of the distance from the Apple Store. So,
yeah. The nearest Apple Store to me is the Hilldale store in Madison, Wisconsin,
where Joe lives,
which for me is I love that store, but it is a 100-mile drive. Well, I attempted to upgrade through the Apple online store. They gave me what would have been a exceptional deal, which would have allowed me to upgrade right now. Except I went through the entire process, and it said, "Oh, sorry, we cannot communicate with your carrier." So I reached out to T-Mobile. They're like, "Hey, everything looks good on our end. You should reach out to Apple sales support or Apple technical support." Reached out to Apple technical support, and they said, "Well, you should reach out to the Apple Store salespeople." And
But you
they're
weren't
like,
in a store.
yeah, that's
and the Apple salespeople over the line said, "Yeah, we can. It's totally on T-Mobile. There's some kind of block there that T-Mobile says doesn't exist, and you shouldn't even go to the store since they run the same system."
Mm.
Which leaves my only option as the far lesser deal at the T-Mobile store.
unfortunate.
I'm wondering if it was something you alluded to in a previous conversation, Ben, where there was a temporary server communication failure. And if you try it again, like tomorrow, because it's been days.
I tried it yesterday.
Oh, still the same
Same
problem.
deal.
That sucks.
Yep,
Yeah.
on all our lines.
Yeah,
And
that's a big move. You're not going to want to change carriers. So that's a big headache.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate. But
yeah,
I mean, in most cases, I think a lot of people do have a good experience. I mean, I have a very good experience. I mean, I'm fortunate to have a number of Apple stores nearby to me, and that's generally where I go, only because I'm in the Apple trade-in program each year. So And I tend to not have to visit the store. I usually have the phone shipped directly to me on release day when the new iPhone comes out. So, but I've had experiences in the past when I've gone to the Apple store. It's not as crazy as it used to be in the old days where you would wait in line and there would be like hundreds of people waiting to get in because it was exciting when the iPhone came out. So you don't see that as a common thing these days. But it's interesting to see because I've always had a poor experience with the carrier. I've gone to a T-Mobile store, just not even with the, you look at I'm like you, looking at the best deals, but then you go to the carrier and it's like, oh my God, you're wasting my time here. And they don't want to help you in the carrier store at all. They just want to sell you the phone and to get you out, get out of here. Where, as we all know, the Apple store is a great experience because they want to help you, and they also want to help you after the sale and make sure you get the iPhone set up properly. If you have any questions, we're all in a position where we're pretty savvy enough. I don't think we need to spend that time, but then I like this for customers who are technically challenged, that this is very helpful, and I think they really appreciate that, and that's why Apple's as successful as it is. So, do you have any thoughts on this, Jill?
Yeah, I had. I don't know if you want me to. I bought a phone through Verizon, and because my part of a business account, it all got messed up, and I did not get my $1,000 of rebate for a year because they said, "Oh, you should have. You're not a Spock. You're not a business owner. You can't order phones on your own." And it was complicated and messy, and I don't think I'm going to do it again. But I'm afraid if I order it from Apple, it's not going to work either. So I'm confused about what to do next, but on my phone. But I probably won't buy my next phone through carrier. I buy iPads usually through Best Buy because that's pretty straightforward. But the Mac, I wanted special memory on it, special hard drive space. And so I went to the Apple store and bought it there.
Jill, every Apple store has a business liaison.
Oh, okay, great.
Go in and ask to speak to them, and they're going to get you set up with everything for your business account. And then when you go in to do all your purchases in the future, you let that liaison know that you're coming in to buy.
Okay, great. Even though I'm not the business person, it's someone else's business. I'm my friend's business.
Yeah. They'll walk you through getting everything set up.
Right. Perfect. That sounds great. And that's probably what I'm doing. This was such an awful thing.
I work with the business team all the time in my job, and they're awesome. That they really have some and the experience of my local stores I was working with for a while. Go out to the East Coast. Sometimes it's questionable, but also the company size that matters too. So then, as the size of the company is larger, they tend to move them over to a more corporate business partner as opposed to the Apple retail store business team. Because the Apple business team, that's the good thing about the Apple business team. The business team in the retail stores is they do small and medium businesses, and that sounds like that's where your category is. So yeah. And they're great. And
that's great.
I've had them come out when I was leading an Apple user group. They've come out to help us out, and they're very, very helpful. And that's a good team. So I think I definitely would agree that would be a good reason to do that. So.
Yeah, I will say that the Verizon store was fantastic. Did try to help me, and I think what went wrong is they overhelped me.
Yeah.
They helped me to the point where I wasn't going to get my rebate because everyone was so helpful. But they were really great. I mean, I don't, other than the fact I didn't get my $1,000 for it.
Yeah, what a shame. But the key is when you go to these carrier stores, make sure you go to a company store. Don't go to those carrier stores that have that are a little company that has, we do Verizon, we do T-Mobile, we do AT&T. Don't go there. Or even if they have standalone T-Mobile, and I've seen it, T-Mobile stores as well as, I don't see T-Mobile as much, but Verizon for sure I've seen it, where you go in these stores like, oh no, we're owned by this company and we just are we're an authorized reseller.
Verizon stores are notorious for not actually being Verizon.
Yeah.
Okay. We had a newspaper article in our local paper where what happened to me happened to many people. Yeah. And once the newspaper got on top of them, and that was the story, is that these were not real stores. I mean, they were real stores, but they weren't owned by Verizon. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah. We actually have a few comments in the chat here. Wayne, how you doing, Wayne? Glad to see you in the chat tonight. In order to get an iPhone 15 Pro Max on launch day, I purchased it directly online from Apple. That's what I do. That's definitely a good idea. And then Brett, how you doing, Brett? Great, good to see you. He says he got an Apple Watch Ultra 2 through Verizon. The guy there was super helpful in getting me my $150 off the price and updating my plan. So there you go. You got some good experiences too. It really varies. I definitely think this is interesting to see where the percentages are, but you are seeing the trends towards the carriers, and that's the great thing about Apple. Apple's being smart. You don't have to go to the Apple Store to get what you want. But whenever anybody asks me, I'm sure you guys do the same thing. If you live near an Apple Store, it is the best experience to go to an Apple retail store. I think it's something that we definitely promote and have a good experience.
It's really great, Ben.
Yeah,
really great, Ben.
Yeah.
It's a shame for you, Ben. I wish that you would have been able to get that pulled off, but one of these days you'll be able to find another deal here. We're gonna have to put listeners out there. If you know of any good deals, you can get Ben and get him a new phone. I think we definitely need to help you out because I know you're itching to get upgraded.
Yeah.
So, all right. With that, let's go ahead and wrap up for this week. This was a great show. We had a lot of great conversation, and really appreciate y'all being here. So that is a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Mastadon at intouchwithios, at techhangout.social. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. You also can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We would really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe when you are notified, and you will be notified when we are live streaming, which is on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios. So shout out to Webb Bixby and Brett and Wayne and all the others who were in the chat this week. Really appreciate you listening in on a live show. You definitely could have a good experience watching the show live. And this is also a place where you can watch the current and past live streams, as well as listen to past shows on YouTube. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discuss are flipped into that magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and many others. But better yet, just go to our website, intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Mastodon at DaveG65 at Mastodon.cloud. And Jill McKinley, so happy you were able to make it on the show. What a great guest, and glad you were here. Where can people find you?
Thank you for having me. You can find me. I have 2 podcasts. I'm going to start 2 more in the new year, but my main one is startwithsmallsteps.com. So thank you.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to look forward to hearing more about that when it comes out. Jeff Gamet, so glad you made it here, the 3rd podcast and my 2nd today, and I'm so glad you were able to make it for this show as well. Where can people find you?
Well, I'm happy to be here, Dave. On Mac Voices Live, I promised everyone I would give an update on the knockoff Find Woven Apple Watch band. Mm-hmm. So mine showed up yesterday morning, and so I've been wearing it since. Here's my super fast update because it's been less than 48 hours for this. It's surprisingly comfortable. It looks really nice. And I am concerned about how well the magnets hold. I want to go to the Apple Store and compare the magnets on this to the ones, the knockoff ones in the Apple Store. And we'll see how it looks come next Tuesday for Mac Voices. So there you go. Right. That's the super fast update on the $16 Apple Watch band, knockoff band on Amazon.
Thank you. I completely forgot to bring that up. Go ahead.
It's all right. Between us, we get through it all. All right. So super fast. Social media, Jay Gamet everywhere. Mastodon, Instagram, Threads. That's where I'm posting stuff now. Then shows. Mac Voices Live on Tuesdays. Chuck Joyner Show. In Touch with iOS here on Thursdays. Dave, your show. British Tech Network, the Big Show on Thursdays, the Mac Show on Fridays, and also Context Machine. Brian Chaffin and I record that.
Great. And last but certainly not least, Ben Roethig. Thank you again. Your third show. Thank you so much for being here. And where can people find you?
Well, Dave, you can find me at Ben Roethig on social media. Roethig.tech for my writing. On Tuesdays, you can find me on Mac Voices Live with Chuck Joyner. On Thursday and Fridays, you can find me on the British Tech Network with interim host Jeff Gamet for the Mac and Big Shows.
Great. We appreciate it, Ben. And thank you for listening. Thanks everybody that was in the chat this week in youtube.com/intouchwithios. Really appreciate it. We had a lot of fun getting some great comments. And thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. We really enjoyed doing it. And we'll talk again soon.